everyone, it's Desiree, and I am so excited to be here with Simon Says Stamp and to help them celebrate Stamptember for 2022. I have here the exclusive stamp set with Simon Says Stamp and Paper Rose. Now remember, if you like this stamp set, you'll want to make sure that you grab it now because they are only available until supplies last. Once it is sold out, it does not come back. So have fun. But let's get started on our card. What I chose to do is I cut a piece of Canson XL watercolor paper to 3.5 by 8.5, and I'm going to stamp a border on the top and the bottom. So what's great with this stamp set is great sentiments that go with the word thanks. So you can say much thanks, thanks for everything, big thanks, thanks for your kindness, many thanks, thanks, you're the best. So those are the combinations and so many more that you can create. And it has this one strip of these dainty flowers. And I just saw a slimline with a top and a bottom border. And what I'm doing is I'm matching up. It's almost as if I'm stamping the mirror. So I'm taking the stamp one way and then turning it for the other way and matching up the tip of that stamp. It was just by luck that it was the perfect length of the cardstock of the Canson XL watercolor that I cut. So I was extremely happy. I am stamping this in my VersaFine Black, and I'm using my clear embossing powder to create that border. Because this is such a smaller image, I wanted to make sure that I had a border to it so I can hold my watercolors in there because we are going to be using our watercolors. I'm doing each section at a time so that it doesn't dry and it won't emboss. I have an overhead fan and it will make that sticky ink dry quicker. So we did each section at a time. I did double stamp it because I wanted to make sure that I had a nice crisp black image for my flowers. And then once the flowers were done, I wanted to get my sentiment into the center. And I simply chose thanks right in the center of that. I'm going to stamp this multiple times. With the watercolor paper that I'm using, it's cold press, so it is very textured. I mean, not very, it's not rough, but there is a texture to it. But I wanted to make sure that I had a good impression of that sentiment. I am going to heat set this also with my clear embossing powder, but I'm also going to stamp it again. So I stamped this a total, including this last one, about 5 times. To make sure that I had that nice, thick, black sentiment. I grabbed my Mission Gold. These are the pure pigment watercolors. And I have a size 4 brush. And I'm just filling in the colors. I'm not doing a wet on wet. I'm going down with my first color first into that section, and then I'm coming in with another color, whether that's a darker green or a shade of blue, and I'm dropping that into the wet paint to fill those areas in. And that's pretty much how I handle all of this, the entire border. I put my color down and I'll drop a color. Or for the flowers, I put a little bit of a color down and then I lifted that color up with a paper towel so that it stayed soft. I didn't want this to be bold. Even though this green looks bold, again, watercolors will dry back. So I wanted this vintage feel for those florals, but a nice, strong green. So I'm going to let you all sit back and watch the watercoloring, and I'm just going to put music while you watch until I finish. I'll be back. Okay, after I did all of that watercolor, I'm adding splatters to the front of this panel with the colors that I used for the leaves and the flowers. And I'm just making sure that that's sitting within the center around the thanks. All right, for our layers, I'm using a black piece of cardstock. Now this slimline is measuring 4 by 9. I was really into the slimlines so far, but 4 by 9. And that black piece, I went a little crooked putting on my iridescent mirror cardstock. So that black piece did measure 4 by 9. But since I went off a little bit, I did not want that one to be wonky. So I just used my scissors and I trimmed the edge. So I have a very fine border going around my mirror cardstock. My mirror cardstock was cut to 3 3/4 by 8 3/4. So when I put this panel on top, not only will I have the mirror and the black mat, I'll have a white border going around it as well. And I think it adds to that. Whenever I have a watercolor panel, I do like to use my double-sided film tape by Uline. It is an extremely strong double-sided tape. It is not forgiving. The moment you have that down, it's down. If you go to take it apart, it will tear your cardstock. But I love using it with watercolor panels because they will warp with the water that you're using. That flattens it right out and the card will not warp either. I added a few pearl gems around the front to finish off my card. I do hope you enjoyed today's project featuring the exclusive stamp set of Paper Rose with Simon Says Stamp for STAMPtember of 2022. I had a lot of fun with this. The products that I used will be listed down below. And remember, once the stamp set does sell, it will not be coming back. So it is limited and it's available while supplies last. So good luck. If you have any questions, please make sure you leave those down below and I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for stopping by and taking the time to watch this video. I am truly honored that you're taking that time to spend with me today. If you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. I'd love for you to be part of my group. Enjoy the art that you create because we are all here creating art, having fun with it, and seeing just what we can do with the supplies that we have. Everyone take care, enjoy, but most of all, always remember, be creative, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.